A warm welcome to Anuradha Vedic Astrology. Today we are going to look into the educational prospect of a child, a very important part of our life because that is how our life ahead will be defined. So, how is the prospect of a child in regards to his studies will tell us the kind of life he is capable of leading in the future. But before we begin, a big thanks to all of you for liking, sharing and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels and writing in your comments and suggestions there. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do and do press the bell icon so that you can get the updates ASAP. Now, when we talk about education, the primary education can be seen from the second house and the fourth house. The kind of learnings one person has in totality can be seen from the second house. I would also like to tell you that when we are looking into education, just looking into the D1 chart is not complete because you need to confirm the same with a divisional chart as prescribed by BPHS, by Parashar Rishi and all the exalted rishis, wherein they say that the Varga charts hold much importance. So, we move on to the D24 also, the Siddhyamsa, which Siddhamsa also lets us know the kind of education a person can take. I have made videos on that. It also lets us know whether a person can have education up to a certain level. Let's move on to this chart as an example for teaching. Now, the person here, this particular child is facing huge amount of difficulties in learning. The child does not want to learn, the child does not want to study. Let's look into the chart and see the cause as to why the child does not want to study. If you look into the second house, which is the house of learning, okay, you will see that that house is being aspected by Rahu, that house is aspected by Mars, the Lagna being that of Aquarius. The second house becomes the sign of Pisces and the Lord here is Jupiter. So, the second house has a 8th drishti, which is one of the most malefic drishtis or aspects of Mars, the 8th aspect, killing the Swahanta Yoga. So, it kills the desire to earn knowledge, and it is also aspected by Rahu, which is another malefic, and Mercury, the karak of learning, is associated with Rahu. Either the person has an out of box learning ability or the person is just not learning and is quite lazy to begin with. Now, when you look at the second lord and the karaka of the second house, that is Jupiter, it is also afflicted by Saturn, not afflicted actually, it is aspected by a Krur or a malefic planet Saturn, which causes disinterest, though there is a Gajkesari Yoga there, but sit in the third house. So, the person has an ability to gain things easily, wanting the person, leading the person more and more so for not having a bent of mind towards studies. There is a sense of disinterest towards studies. So, this is what the first, the D1 promises. Let's look in the promise of the D24. When you look into the D24 chart, you will see that the Lagna here is a Leo Lagna, okay, and again it is in the 7th house from the Lagna of the D1 chart. So, showing that there is a complete, when it comes to education, the person is has a completely different view as to his personality. Let's look into the second house again. The second house is aspected by a debilitated Jupiter. The second lord is with second lord being Mercury, which is also the planet of value, which should give a lot of education. But unfortunately, for D24, here Mercury is associated with Mars and is also aspected by Saturn. The person should go into a technical work, and if it doesn't, then the person will just not want to do any studies, because Mars and Mercury combination is also not a very easy combination, it's quite a difficult combination. Though the second house is aspected by Jupiter, but that Jupiter is also debilitated. Let's look into the house of intelligence, the fifth house also. The fifth lord is obviously Jupiter, as we know here. It is again debilitated, so the intelligent quotient leaves a little to be desired. The fifth house is aspected by Mars, again by the eighth aspect of Mars, killing the intelligence of the child. And the fifth house lord is also aspected by Saturn, can show a slow learner. All this makes the person makes it difficult for the person to learn. So, it is important for the parents to make sure that the basic learning of the child is completed with their effort. And will the parents be able to succeed? If you look into the fourth house, there is a Ketu present in the fourth house of the Rashi chart. The mother could be acting a little strict and making sure that the work happens. Okay. So, even in the D1, if you see, the fifth lord is under the Rahu-Ketu axis and is afflicted, the fifth house. So, we can say that there can be problems in intelligence and in learning both. In such a case, parents will have to make extra effort to see that the child learns the basic amount, so that the child is able to earn well as the person moves up in life. Till we meet with you again, stay safe.